Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Motivation Monday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. I pitched myself because I'm not wearing green. I wanted to do something different. I was going to go with green, but I said, you know what? Let's do blue. I am feeling the hue of blue. I hope you all are doing as fabulous as I am today. It feels so goddamn good to be back, Fashion Dolls. An all new week, continuing on the celebration of amazing women in the month of March for Women's History Month, but we're doing something a little different. We're having men come on, and men are telling us exactly how they feel, ladies. So, for Women's History Month, we have something very special planned throughout this whole entire month of March. My lineup is men. I wanted it all to be women, but everybody's schedule was all over the place. So, without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, actor, stuntman, artist. He does it all. Please welcome Anthony Riley to the Dollhouse. Hello,
Hey,
hello.
Miss Stevie, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yes, it's such a pleasure to have you here. So before we kick off this interview, how has 2025 been for you so far?
2025 has been a bit of a challenge for me so far, but it's a challenge that I'm up to.
Yes. But we're getting through it. It might seem like a crazy year. And I said this in my last interview last week that 2025 is the year more so of awakening, whereas 2024 was more so about separation and accountability. 2025 is more so like an awakening for all of us, like we're aware to everything. So, definitely. But before we get into this, I like to start at the beginning of everyone's story. So tell us, who is Anthony Riley?
Well, Anthony Riley is a almost middle-aged man that was born and raised in Gary, Indiana, which is the home of Michael
Michael
Jackson. For those that
Jackson?
don't know,
Yes.
yes, ma'am. Grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood. With being in Gary, the entire city is a bit rough, but like I said, it was a challenge. About the age of 15, 16, my mother moved to Wisconsin, which was Racine, Wisconsin. And by the time I turned 25, maybe 26, I moved up to Appleton, Wisconsin, which is where I'm located, but I'm in Green Bay at the moment. But as far as me, I've always been interested in entertaining since I was a young age, maybe about 5 years old.
Mm.
And it spoke to me. It's not just a hobby or anything like that. It's more of a passion to me. It's something I fell in love with, where I love doing it, and there is nothing I'd rather be doing.
And look at you now, Tomb Stunt Team, which we'll talk about throughout this interview as well, to which you're a part of, which is amazing. And one thing else I admire about you, you're also a family man. That's one thing I respect about you as well too, is that you're able to find that balance between the two of being an actor, being a comedian, and being a part of being a stunt coordinator as well too, and then being a family man. For you, growing up into the business as a young man in Gary, Indiana, all the way from Gary, Indiana to Wisconsin. But what was it like for you making that shift at a very young age, getting into the business?
I, from at a young age, I was not, excuse me, I was not 100% into the business. I kind of fell out for quite a few years, and until I came to Appleton, Wisconsin, I was working as a bouncer at a banquet hall slash restaurant and bar. And one day I'm sitting there, and this guy comes in, very nice dressed guy, has like this suede tailored suit on. It was gorgeous. I was like, hey man, how are you? What do you do? He said, hey, I'm an actor. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, dude. I've always been interested. He's like, hey, you know what? Sometimes you should probably come out and film with us one day. And since that day, it's been about 6, 7 years. Me and that man have been like brothers. I go to his house. I have had my kids around his kids. I met his mother, his father, and everything like that. Unfortunately, his mother and father passed away a couple years ago. But they're lovely people, and um, and it's been a storybook ever since.
Look at you now. That's it's amazing in this industry because it's very in a time where you find people that you click with and you connect with. And for me, a prime example would be having that support circle around you, backing you 100%. Like one of my girlfriends, Ro Underwood, she did Raising K9. And I remember we did our first interview together. Meeting her, her personality, we just clicked instantly. And ever since then, we continued to talk. She's been on the show repeatedly. We've had her on the Girl Talk panel. She's a part of my Girl Talk group, and it's myself, her, and I think 5 other women are in the group as well too. 5 other women. I'm losing the number because I'm always networking with so many people, but she is a part of that group, and I am great to call her one of my sister friends in the business. So the key thing is creating bonds. How important is it that creating bonds with people will help strengthen you in this business?
In my opinion, is one of the most important things you can do in this business. Because once you have a very good support system behind you, there's nothing that can stop you. Any obstacle comes your way, you have somebody you can lean on that you can count on 100% of the way. It's always going to push you to the next level and keep you getting past every blockade and every step in the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you two have both had your children around each other. You two have both shared a brotherhood, a camaraderie. What's it like working on Toom's stunt team as a stunt coordinator?
It is, oh my, like it is so exciting. Because you know how you watch movies and stuff. Everybody puts so much love into the actors and everything like that. And the thing I fell in love with was some of the stuff behind the scenes. Is so much work that goes on that people do not see, and it is hours and hours. And yeah, with working with Tombstone Team, it's been a journey, a very enjoyable journey. It's so fantastic. It's like I said, I rather if I can wake up every day and just be on set doing. It doesn't matter if I'm behind the scenes or I'm in front of the camera. I do love the camera. Don't get me wrong, but if I can help make the production come true, where I can bring a dream to life, where I can display something that's entertaining, where everybody can like somewhat be connected to it, then I'm gonna do it no matter what.
Hmm. And speaking of stunts, that's going to be my first part of the conversation with you as we get into the acting aspect of it. I'm pretty sure you've seen some of the interviews of who I've had on who
My
also done
God.
stunts well too. The first one is Spitfire Brown, and I'm pretty sure you've seen that conversation. Rain in Mortal Kombat, for those of you who are familiar with it.
Oh my
Um,
God.
when we did our interview together, that same exact day when we was about to close, he was like, "Oh, sure, I'm getting lit on fire," and I was like, what? You can't make this stuff up. Like, what is the most dangerous thing that has ever happened to you while doing a stunt? Or have you ever had any injuries? That was going to be my first question.
I had a very small shoulder sprain from taking we were doing I was filming here in Green Bay with a different team, and so I took a roll wrong. It was kind of on the hill, and I kind of like jolted my shoulder a little bit too bad.
Ooh,
But I recovered. I'm good now. But also when working with Tombstone Team, we make sure that everybody is safe. So we'll take time. We'll train weeks up until we're actually going to shoot to make sure everybody, hey, just let us know how much you can handle. Let us know what you feel uncomfortable with doing, and we always have some kind of safety element on site. Luckily, I have a friend. His name is Cameron. He's a trained EMT, so that's awesome. And that I myself am now CPR certified for the next 2 years till I renew it. So we always have somebody on staff, or we'll have somebody that's a firearms expert. If we're gonna use firearms, we really don't. We use a lot of effects, which is also great. But we always have make sure you're the first thing. Our first and foremost is safety.
oh
That's the
yeah,
main thing.
for sure. Because I've sat with actors who've done stunts on set, from Anthony Velvet Hall from WWE's Tough Enough to China McCoy, who did The Matrix, to Spitfire, who's done Mortal Kombat. And these men have talked about their injuries and how they have broken certain parts on their body. And it's just like going into it to get a perfect shot for that final close for the film. It's you're putting your body on the line. You're using your body. You're literally a human shield. So it's either make or break. Get it one time, or you can get injured permanently and break something. So it's important that people know these things while getting into the business. And that was going to be another question for you. Now going into the life aspect, because I like to go through chapters for each of my conversations. If there was one day you could repeatedly re-experience in your life throughout your career, what would that one day be?
One day that I could re-experience. So one of our earlier films is actually on Amazon Prime. It's called The Cure. And when we shot that, we actually shot it during COVID.
Was difficult for everybody. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If we could have actually shot that outside of the COVID timeline, where we could do more, I would love to do that. But I would shoot that film again over and over again because it was such a project to be. It was such a great project to be a part of. It was so enjoyable. I would love to do that again.
And another thing, how did you manage with the pandemic? Because it was so new for all of us. How we're doing interviews now as how people were doing a lot of things virtually. And even with being on set, you had to be separated. You couldn't go a certain amount of feet. You couldn't go a certain distance. And we've seen the actors literally behind the scenes in all of these like half mask suits, fully covered everything. It was funny, like they were spacemen or something, but this is serious. They were doing it for their protection and for the producers and the directors, of course, their guidelines. They had to make sure that they followed through with it and that the co-stars and actors on the set were protected. So how did you manage when the pandemic hit in 2020?
So what we did with our production team, we literally had a very sanitary set. You come in, everybody's wearing masks. You make sure you wash your hands every time you touch anything. we we did the whole social distancing thing until it's time to shoot. Okay, if you're not on camera, keep your 6 feet of distance.
Yes.
We kept it very sanitary.
And that it was a lot of that going on as well too. A lot of hand washing, a lot of social distancing. My brother served in the military, so everything that he touched, it I don't care if it was the soap with the pump dispenser, whatever. We all had to make sure that everything was neat. Like OCD, I think he rubbed off on me to my mom. My mom started sanitizing her handbag, everything. It was difficult for a lot of us, but we managed and we got through. So how does it feel now that the world is open? We're able to get back on sets, whereas even if it's auditions, you literally had to do a virtual audition. You had to self-tape, all of that. Now, I mean, we're still doing self-tapes, but it just started something revolutionary for a lot of up-and-coming actors. So how did you feel about the self-tape process, and how did you manage to get your stuff submitted in?
The cell tape process is a bit of an adjustment,
Yes.
but it makes things more accessible. That way, like anything I audition for, I don't have to go out to a different location or anything like that. I can just sit in my house in my kitchen and have somewhat of a backdrop. Right now, I'm using my kitchen wall. Have somewhat of a backdrop, and I can just record my stuff and send it out and get whatever I have coming back to me. It made everything a lot easier.
Mm. It sure has. And even with that, the going through the audition process is tons of people who could be going for the same exact role that you're going for, and or they could go for something else, but the line is typically wrapped around the corner. So it's a lot of people that are looking to be seen by the casting director or the producer, and they might not get the opportunity. So self tapes, I believe, opened up the doors for so many people to be able to submit their work in quicker, whereas standing in line, it is a process because you're going to have to go through so many people, so many table reads and things. But are there any life lessons that you wish you had learned earlier in your life and in your career?
I wish I would have had the persistence
Mm.
because early on in life, you do some things, it doesn't work out, you tend to just let it go. But at this point, like I've grown their resiliency and their persistence to keep on pushing, pushing, pushing. It's never gonna be easy. Like when you're an actor, you're gonna hear no over hundreds of thousands of times. It takes that one yes to open that door, and then you're in there.
And I love what you just say you're gonna hear that no. It's for a lot of people. I have a mantra that goes like this: no is on spelled backwards. And me, I'm a Scorpio. I'm very fiery, I'm very passionate, but I go after what my heart's desires are. I don't take no. So when somebody tells me no, you're not what we're looking for, you go out here and you build your own opportunity. Not every opportunity could be no, not in that time. It could be no, not at that time, not just no. But when you go back around a second time and you try for it, if it's a role that you're looking for, you never know. You could be out of town randomly one day. You could have already did the audition and everything, and the person who they were looking for could have been you all along, and you would have not known. And they're just like, no, you're not ready for it. But then when you, like I said, you're out of town and you get that phone call or that email from that casting director saying, we want you for this role right here. You were perfect. Come back and read the parts for this role. So it's just like going on what's the show Shark Tank, and I use this example all the time. When you're going in front of Damon John and Barbara Corcoran, they're going to want to know, what's your business pitch to me? What do you have for me? What can this do to save my life? What can this do to make the world better? What is so unique about this project you're pitching to me? So it's either a hit or a miss. It could be no, not right now at this moment, but don't take it as no, just a hard, solid no. I've had plenty of no's. I've had lots of interviews that I would have loved to score, but that no means no, not right now. But it's not your time. It's on God's time.
Oh yeah, yes.
Absolutely.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
I had to say it because a lot of people get discouraged when they hear no, and it's just like no, there's no in so many other aspects of it. It could mean no, not right now, but keep trying, you will get it. So yeah.
Definitely. And when you hear those no's, it's not like a like you're saying, it's not a no for all right. Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
yeah, you got a call. It throws you out completely. So I understand.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
receiving the call. But yeah, once you hear those no's and everything like that, when I hear a no, if I audition, I just go and you know what I do? I go study more film. Like, that gives me time. I'm like, hey, maybe I'm not ready yet. Let me go study some more. Let me go research a couple things and then come back to it, whether it's a different project or the same project. Because sometimes you get no for that lead, but you still have yes for that supporting actor, yes for that backup role, yes for that background, anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
I would describe a bit charismatic, optimistic, and
Mm.
happy.
And you, the key word you said, optimism. I want all of us today. I know it might seem like we're all going through a dark cloud every single day, and there's so much craziness going on in the world, so many things going on. I want you all to stay encouraged and have optimism. And the reason why I come on every single day, hi Fashion Dog, I really was dreading, I dread Mondays, and I'm pretty sure a lot of us just want to hit that alarm clock, turn it off, unplug it, whatever. We have to get back up and go and restart our day every day. But the key thing is to get yourself up, get motivated, and find something that encourages you. So I want you all to stay optimistic and hopeful. So I'm glad that you said that is one of your words to describe you. Mm.
Yeah, I have to be like, I'm this way where I can be having a horrible day, but I'll find the smallest thing that's going good and I'll hold on to it because it makes my day that much better.
And that's another thing. Find your joy. Find your joy. How do you find your joy in the midst of chaos? Because you are a comedian and you bring light to the darkness that we're all experiencing right now. So, for you as a comedian, how do you stay so grounded and centered and find your joy?
Honestly, because of my background, because I grew up in such impoverished places and such sadness and everything like that, once I started doing comedy and I started bringing smiles to other people's faces, that makes me feel so warm inside, like that I can make somebody else's day. You can like you'll see a lot of people like when I do stand up sets, there'll be a lot of people like frowny faces and stuff in the crowd, but if you can get them to laugh, it'll change their whole day around.
And we need laughter more than anything. Laughter is, and I interview a lot of musicians as well too. I tell musicians this: music is like medicine for the soul.
Oh my.
You are the doctors, you are administering it to us, the consumers, the listeners, because when we put on a song, we could be down, like you said, down or sad, and we could put on that song. I know for me, the album that does it for me is, and I say this all the time, the Mary J. Blige My Life album. Man, woman, anybody can put on her album, and it's just like she's singing from a place of pain. She's singing from a place that we all can relate to, that is genuine and sincere, and we can be vulnerable when we're alone. So that is one album that does it for me. So when I say musicians heal through their music, comedians heal through laughter. You bring lightness to the darkness, to these dark times. So for me, I watch a lot of Saturday Night Live. If not Saturday Night Live, then The Daily Show. And that kind of gives me that escape away from the darkness. Even though it is serious, it still gives me that escape that, okay, laughter can make me heal. And that is the best way. And you live a long time too. So
You live a lot longer being happy than you do sad.
absolutely. And like you said, in the audience, frowning, like angry, you don't know what a person could be going through, but just that being able to put a smile on their face and make them feel good can lighten someone's day, make them feel good about themselves. Yes. My next question for you is, what philosophy guides your decisions and actions in life?
I don't really have a. Okay, so I'm a big martial arts fan. So when I go with philosophies and things like that, I'll go back to one of the martial arts legends as well as Hollywood actor Bruce Lee.
Oh,
He, he had the saying, "Be like water," because water can take any form and any shape. So adaptability, that is incredible.
and it's still, water is still, when we look at the water in other countries, when we look at the water in other countries, like, okay, Belize, very beautiful. Fiji, the water is crystal blue. And I had a girlfriend, shout outs to Francis, beautifully diverse fashion here in the gram. She sent me a picture because I was thinking about leaving the country and just exploring, going on my eat, pray, love journey, like my girl Taraji P. Henson. I love Taraji.
I do.
Um, yes, and that would be one of my dream interviews too. But she went on this journey of herself, because you typically would see her in the crowd with people working together in a group camaraderie setting. But she said, I took a journey on my own. I took a trip by myself. And that was one of the countries that I planned on wanting to visit, was Fiji. It's beautiful. The water's crystal blue. So when Bruce Lee said, be like water, the water is still, it is calm, it is serene, it is pure, it is all of these things. It's nothing like you would ever imagine. So I agree with that too. And in this moment, in this present time, this right here that we're going through, this dark period, is causing for us to have to be still and in the moment. So one of my guests last week on the show, um, Dove, Dove came on and he said this. He said that we need to be present and in the moment. So sitting and reflecting and looking in that mirror, whatever you're going through in your career, your life, even through looking through photo albums, it's like, wow, I can't believe I've come this far in this chapter. You're going through chapter by chapter in your life. So I had to ask. And another thing I wanted to ask you as well. What is the wisest advice that you've ever received, that you followed and never regretted?
The wisest advice I've received um, might have been my father. It might have been from my father who passed away earlier this year.
So
My father always told me, no matter what, always go for something that you believe in, something you dream in.
that's key. That is key. That is key. And I tell you guys this at the end of every one of my interviews: live life through fire. That doesn't mean literally do how Spitfire does it, walk through fire. But what I mean by live life through fire is, life is too short. If you got a business or a dream that you want to plan, I do vision boards. So almost everything that I put on my vision board, I do like a mental checklist every single day. Like, okay, I've accomplished this, I've accomplished this. What else do I want to work on? What else do I want to do? It's always something. So with that being said, if you have something that you're planning, write it down. Start planning ahead. Go after your business. Start investing. If you're looking to open, let's say, a restaurant, You plan out, you draw that floor plan out on what you want to do, who you want to have cooking in it, who you want to have working in it, what you want to put on your menus. All of these things go into planning a business. And it's important that we invest. So invest important to yourself, invest important to your future and your legacy. And that brings my next question to you, because you're also a father as well to your family man. What is the legacy that you plan in your career to leave behind for the next generation, for your legacy, for your offspring? Because we always talk about, what do I want my legacy to be? And we've lost so many people this year. When Angie Stone, which I'm still trying to wrap my head around, she was slated to come on my platform, and me and her publicist, shout outs to Deborah, we have such a good relationship. Like, she introduced me to her. We were going to be setting up the interview, everything, and she was coming on. But it just goes to show you that life is so short and it can be taken in an instant. So we talk about legacy. What is the legacy that you want to leave behind for your children?
Honestly, I want to pave a way for my children to have the ability to pursue anything in life. If they want to be an actor, I want to have that avenue open for them. If they want to be an astronaut, I want to try to have some kind of avenue open. I want to open up doors. And I would like them to do the same thing in their lives, even when I'm gone. I want you to do the same thing. Open up doors for your next generation.
And the next, so forth and so on. That cycle continues, and you want it to continue on. And the acting bug. What would you say if your children were to say, Daddy, I want to get into acting, I want to pursue acting? How would you direct it?
I would honestly, I'd tell them once you graduate high school and college or whatever you're doing, go to film school because that film school is they give you guidelines. They give you step by step ways onto making it into the acting world.
And what's so crazy is, I want more and more producers, want more and more colleges per se, to start investing into the arts, theater arts, drama, because there's so many students out here that want to take up either mass communications, getting on the side of writing and producing for shows, or hosting what I'm doing, or either investing to their own acting companies, their own production companies, and much more. And I think it is time for more and more historically black colleges, historically black universities to produce more and more for the arts. We Spelman University, or is it, no, not Spelman, is Hillman. If you watch A Different World, it was Hillman. Hillman, right? Let me know, y'all, in the comments. It was Hillman.
I believe.
So what I'm seeing is all of these directors like Lena Waithe and all of them invest into this company, Hillman, Hillman University, and they're having the conversations. So I'm seeing more and more of that, where black filmmakers, up and coming black filmmakers and directors, are investing into their careers. So that's why it's important that we invest. Now, failure. How exactly have you been handling failure? And do you need to change your outlook, or do you feel as though I've got this? Because I've had some challenges and obstacles where it's just like, man, if only I could have. If only. Have you ever had a moment like that where it's just like, man, I failed, but I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna dust myself off? Has that ever challenged you?
Every every day I wake up, almost every day I audition. Every pretty much a lot of things, even as it comes to like failing a driver's test or anything like that. There's I look at failure as a way of learning. It teaches a lesson. You can fail and you can say, I did this wrong. I won't do it again next time. Even if you fail again the next time, I did this and this wrong. I won't do it again next time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we diving into family. You guys know that March, yes, today is St. Patrick's Day, and it is also International Women's History Month, celebrating women and our accomplishments to the world. We talk about family. Has mom seen some of your work? Has mom seen you in action on set at the stunt? And what does she say? Because when you're doing stunts, like like I said in the beginning, you're using your body as a prop. You are someone's double, or you're using your legs, you're having to use your arms, you're having to use certain parts of your body, and you could run the risk of getting injured, or the worst. But you have to, in order to get that dope shot. But what has mom said, and the women in your family, and how important are they to you?
The women in my family are the most important parts of my family. The absolute most. I was raised by my mother from when I was young age, I was raised by my mother. My mom did everything in her power to make sure I'm where I am today. And I tend to keep my mother away from my films because we do use foul language, and there are I'm 35 years old, but I am afraid to swear in front of my mother. So I try to keep her at a distance. I'll give her the link to the page and everything like that. I'm like, Mom, you can go ahead and watch it if you want, but I curse a lot, and I don't want you saying that. So I try to keep her away from it as much as possible.
It's amazing to have your mother support. Our mothers mean everything to us. Almost every guest that I've interviewed throughout this week have said that their moms, their dads have been pivotal in their life, mainly their moms, because the moms nurture. The dads will be like, okay, what's going to be your backup plan, your plan A and your plan B? So it's important. If you were to give 5 adjectives that would describe women, what would they be?
Courageous, strong, nurturing, overall beautiful, and loving.
And I've heard a lot of men. My lineup this week, when I was introducing you, I said my lineup is all men because I wanted it all to be women and celebration of Women's History Month. But I said, you know what? Let's do what Cosmopolitan does, where they ask men how they feel about us as women. And it's always great as a woman to hear how men actually feel about us, and that you gentlemen are seeing our strength, our courageousness, our fearlessness. That's something we inherit from our mothers. And I must say, for me, I get my nurturing spirit from my mother, my fieriness, my feistiness from her, my outspokenness from her. And I must say that I get my strength from my dad. My dad was a Marine, and he served in the Marines. And one thing I can tell you about this man, he's still living. He's in his 70s. My father's in his late 70s, still going, still has that energy, still as smart as a whistle. And just his strength, like the fathers rule with an iron fist in the household, and that's how it was. The mothers were there to nurture, and I think I get a little bit of both from both sides. But I'm very protective as the aspect of my mother is the mother bear aspect. And even in our group of friends, we always get compared to being the mama bear or the father bear or whatever, like the parent figure. The one best friend is always going to be like, I don't think you should take that route, but they're always going to give you advice, that advice you don't want to hear. Like, we'll sometimes be like, I wish I would have listened to my mom, or I wish I would have listened to my dad at that point in that aspect at that point in time. For you as a man growing up, what is that one piece of advice that you wish been like, okay, I wish I'd have listened to my mom, like she was right? Because then it comes back on us, even being grown, and they're just like, you know what? She was right.
So my mother, so any woman I date, my mother has this thing where like, if like honestly, I'm the same way. If my mom don't like you, I don't like you. But I was dating this woman when I was about 18 years old, and my mom used to always tell me, "Hey, you shouldn't date that woman. It's a bad thing." I wish I would have went back and listened, because I would have dodged the bullet, or I still dodged the bullet somewhat because of my mother. But I would have been caused less of a headache.
That women, our intuition is so strong. We can feel things, we can sense things. We could be calm in the moment and we be like, something is coming. It's like we foreshadow it, we see it coming. That woman's intuition is so powerful that it lets us know. Even for the mothers out here, I don't have kids, I have a fur baby. So uh, but that instinct is real. My mother would tell me certain things like, okay, you want to make this decision, you want to go on ahead and you want to do this. And I'd be like, in the back of my mind, like, yeah, it didn't work out in my favor. And didn't want to go back and talk to her because my pride. When you're grown, you get your pride. You don't want to go back and tell your parents that they were right because you're an adult too. And it's just like you have to learn on your own sometimes. So moms get it. Moms know everything. You can't hide from them. First instinct.
I tried to hide things from my mom before, but she somehow knew it already. I
Woman's
was like, "All right,
intuition,
you're right."
quick on it, quick on it. You got that bad grade in school and the school calling back here, they would know. And she'd be like, oh, because my brother got in trouble for misbehaving in school one day, and she called on it. He was talking back to her in the car, and I was just like sitting there like a lame duck. And she wanted to get, how in the black household you get
Yeah,
whoopings. You talk back, you
yeah.
get whoopings. So just like, you know what, I'm not gonna chase after you. I'm gonna wait till your daddy get here because she wanted to go upside his head. So I'm just standing there. He ran past me. He ran to the mailbox. This is around middle school, I want to say. And she's just like, I'm gonna tell your daddy. So that's how your mothers get you. They said, you know, the word right there, the word, that comment, that quote right there. I'm gonna tell your daddy. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till your father come home and deal with you. That was it. So yeah, I remember those little things, and those words still ring in the back of my head till now.
Oh, definitely. Like I was raised by my mother mostly. I spent time with my father when I had the opportunity to. Like when you say your father, my father was also a Marine, and growing up, my father became a professional heavyweight boxer at one point in life. He was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. So before he, like once my father passed, I found out so many things about my father that I just didn't know about. I find out that my father trains police officers in close quarters combat. I found out my father saved the alderman's life. I'm like, who is this man? Because like, I know my father as Bruce Wayne. Everybody else knows him as Batman. So I'm like, that's crazy. So now there's a street named after my father in Chicago. I believe it's on the corner of Division, and I forgot the other street.
And that's legacy. When we talk about legacy, that's why I asked you that question. But your father being so iconic, Bruce, the iconic Bruce Wayne. Do you guys, did you know that, Fashion Dolls? And to have a street named after your father, that's legacy. So that's, you're the next generation. We are the next generation. You said you're 35, I'm 31. So you're 5 years ahead of me. And with us being young and youthful, it's important that we encourage the next generation, even for bigger, building that legacy for our offspring. I don't have children. I'm an auntie, and I have a fur baby. And my fur baby, she is already getting into everything. She is rebellious. If you guys take a look at the outfit that I wore last week, you see a picture of her. I took a picture with her. But and I have a nephew who's on his way to his terrible twos, and I'm looking forward to seeing him grow and just what he wants to do with his life and his career in the next legacy, or whether or not he wants to follow in his father's footsteps. Because my brother went in the military, my brother and uncle served in the military, and my father served in the Marines. So I don't know what he's going to do when he grows up, and it's around that time for him to go to college. But I know that these babies are learning very fast. Anthony, my nephew, knows sign language now.
Oh, that's incredible. Like, that is impressive.
He knows how to say I love you, y'all. He knows how to say I've had enough, too much. And the head of the daycare, the teacher, she's picking him up. My brother's wife is like, you do know he can walk, right? And he can walk. So he's already getting into everything. He's on his way to his terrible twos. And when they are on their way to their terrible twos, I am not looking forward to it at all, because these babies are going to be, you have to keep a constant eye on them. It's a cartoon. If you watch Tommy and Jerry, remember the episode where they had to babysit the baby, and the baby was, just crawling, crawling, crawling everywhere? That is my nephew. My mother just got out the hospital. And so my brother and his wife had to come down with my nephew as well too, because my brother's wife's father was staying with them, making sure. But they said no, we'll bring him down too. So as my mom was in the hospital laid up, I mean, he was in the bed, he was looking up under the covers, I mean, everything. And you know, when you're waiting for the doctor to come in the, when you're in the when you're in the waiting room, you know, for the doctor to come and visit you or whatever and tell you, okay, this is what you need to do. How we would always, as grown-ups, we would look through the things. That's what he was doing. So I'm like, this baby is getting into everything. So my mother called me and told me what was going on. But they're learning fast, and it's important that we continue to encourage the next generation coming after us. So, what was a decision that positively changed your life, in your career, and in your life as
The positive thing that actually just saying yes when I offered. Because if I would have never met Toom, who's our producer and everything with Toom Stunt Team, I don't think I would have actually went for it. I think I would have just been, still sitting at the bar doing security or something like that. But saying that yes, because I had plenty of opportunities to say no. I had plenty of things going on and everything like that with raising my children and everything like that. But I felt a strong magnetic pull towards this situation. So I was like, I gotta say yes. And
And
that
the
changed
power of
everything.
yes, the power of yes, the power of feeling. Sometimes that opportunity could be like, no, I don't want to take this opportunity right now. And I have been offered opportunities left and right. We all have in this business where it's just like, let me think about it. Let me sit on that for a minute. Should I or shouldn't I? And sometimes we'll go back to our parents and we'll ask them there, get a second opinion or a second thought, or even talk to a friend about it. And it's just like, I've had opportunities where I've had one of my girlfriends and I went to school with her, Felicia, and she's a big, big support system. That is my sister. That is my rock. And then my brother K Tukes, who also has his platform as well too. Shout outs to him. The K Tukes spot. Make sure you guys head on over and sub to him. Great interviews. Um, they'll be like, take that opportunity. Don't mess this up. And the opportunity, one of the biggest ones that I received was being able to write for Original Magazine UK as one of the fashion writers there. And when Mickey Sola reached out to me, now I'm in South Carolina, little old black girl in South Carolina, and I'm just like, you want this black woman to write for your high prestigious publication? She looked at every woman in the world, everybody in the world who wanted that position, and she saw something that I posted because I do a lot of fashion and political. I love politics. I'm always deeply engaged into what's going on, especially in this time. And she saw one of my posts and she reached out to me and she said, would you like to write for my publication? And at first I was sitting in the back like, I've done this before. I've done the radio, I've done this before. I mean, yeah. But being able to have your own creative output, I said, yes. She said, I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. And I said, this is the opportunity for me. And it's been article published after published after published after published after published after published for each season because fashion changes from spring to winter to fall. It's always an article with her. And whenever she says, can you get this article to me a certain period of time, I say, sure, boss lady, write on it. Get it to her. The article is published and up. So that's an opportunity that I said yes to. You never know when you say yes to an opportunity. Do your research on it. If you're not sure, get that second opinion from somebody, and then you go from there. So they only come once in a lifetime.
Definitely, definitely only come once in a lifetime. I don't know how much time we have left, but I want to give a couple of shout outs on here. First and foremost, Stevie, shout out to you for inviting me here. I love your platform. I love your fashion. I go down your Instagram and I love your fashion. I'm like, this is incredible. I want to give a shout out to Tomb Stunt Team. And anybody that views this or anybody that comes across this, you make sure you go by Style, see Styled by Stevie here on Instagram as well as YouTube. If you don't, you're missing out. You're definitely missing out. And I want to give a shout out to AP Management, which is a management company I work for right now. A shout out to my mom, most first and foremost. And I want to say God bless everybody. I want to give a shout out to God and
Ooh,
Jesus, and because without them, I would not be here today.
you wouldn't be the man you are. And you are a beautiful brother. You are a beautiful black man. And I'm
You are a
proud of
beautiful
you.
woman.
And
Hey,
a
it's
bitch
one to
more and
appreciate,
more
man.
because I've gotten so much backlash because I've always go so hard on the guys. But this year is not just celebrating women, but the men who admire us. And it's amazing to know that we have men backing us 100% and encouraging us along the way, like, I got your back. I'm thankful for my brothers. I'm thankful for you. And I'm thankful for, I'm surrounded by men 24/7. My colleague Bubs the God, my brother K Tukes, and just your protection over me, protection over women, black women in general. I want to say thank you, fellas, for being that beacon for us, being that support system and understand. And it's vice versa. And it's real quick before we wrap. It's a quote from Florida Evans on Good Times, where James thought that she was cheating, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it, Anthony, where he thought that she was messing around with the boss or whatever. And he's just like, Florida, who is this? And they had dinner on the floor. You know how they do in the restaurants back in the day or whatever. And James got suspicious. He was like, you dancing, you smiling, all this. She said one thing, and I want women as well as men to take away from this as well. She said, James, I don't want to walk behind you. I want to walk beside you. And in this day and age, we have to have our men walk beside us and vice versa. Women, we're here to help you. We're here to be your listening ear. We're here to be your emotional support, your vulnerability, your soft space. your safe space as well. So it's going to take both of us to work together, and we're going to continue to work together and uplift one another. And the final thought of the day comes from the greatest, Muhammad Ali. He said, "The fight is won or lost far away from witnesses beyond the lines in the gym." And he also said, "Out there on the road long before I dance under those lights." So that means the fight continues. And it goes back to what Anthony said, key crucially in our interview in the mid part or beginning. You guys have to go back and catch the replay, which is keep going. Keep going. Do not give up. The fight continues on. And we may seem like we're in a dark cloud, a dark period. Don't feel darkness. Don't feel despair. Don't feel fear. Be vigilant. Be aware. And take that energy and tap it into something powerful. Use your power. Use your resources. You are all you've got. Invest into yourself and invest into your friends' business. If you have a friend that has a business, I'll give you an example. One of my good girlfriends, Chastity, shout outs to her, Hypnotic Skincare, Black owned. She produces her own oils, her own body scrubs, and I love Bath and Body Works, and I love Tree Hut, which is why I'm all glowy all over. I love body scrubs, body shimmer oils, all of these things. That's my secret to my glow. I love a lot of body oils and scrubs and things, but she makes her own. Invest into her business. She sent me some of her scrub, so I want you guys to go and invest into your businesses of your black everything. Invest into black everything. That's what I want you guys to do. So keep that in mind. The fight continues. We will get through these dark times, and just stay optimistic and hopeful. So before we let you go, Anthony, any
Yeah.
gems, and where can everyone follow you? What gems would you give to everybody closing out?
What gems?
Yes, what words of encouragement or gems would you give to everybody?
Where has been created? If you see something that you're really passionate about, that you want in life, go for it. And when you grab hold of it, don't ever let go. Don't run to the finish line. Run through the finish line. I'm always gonna say that. Run through that finish line, because you might finish one race, but another one always starts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And where can everyone follow you and check you out?
You can follow me here on Instagram at actor_Anthony_Riley. I may have a TikTok up, but I'm not sure. Or you can follow me on Facebook at my name, Anthony Riley. That is ANTHONYRILEY.
And no show tomorrow, Fashion Dolls, but we will be back Wednesday. Wednesday, joining me, we have Conrad Johnston. So make sure you guys tune in. And this interview will be uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. Head on over and subscribe. This would make interview, and I've lost count. It's been so many. We're on the road to 800, y'all. Let me see. This would make interview, once I get the number rolling in, this will make interview 765. We are on the road to 800. Thank you all so much for your love and your support, and keep tuning in. Again, be great, be amazing, and invest. Take care, everyone. And it was nice meeting you, Anthony.
Very nice meeting you, Stevie.
You
Have
too.
a great day. God bless.